All right, thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us today. We love the enthusiasm of all the networking, and I promise you we'll have more time for that over coffee breaks and this evening. So we want to make sure there's plenty of time for everybody here to get to know each other and to network and lay the foundation for the future of our industry and all the great things that are going on. So good afternoon and welcome to Future Space 2025. My name's Brad Cheetham. I'm very grateful to be the chair of the Future Space Leaders Foundation, as well as the CEO and co-founder at Advanced Space. This event is one of my favorite events of the year, and on behalf of myself, Sarisha Bandla, our vice chair, our executive director, Yasmin Alman, who's been running around organizing this whole event, and all of our board members, I really want to welcome you all here today. This is a great opportunity for us to not only have useful and value-added conversation, but also to network and get to know each other. So we're really also grateful to be in this amazing room. So thank you very much to the Senate staffers that made that happen, particularly Stephanie, thank you for that. This room, probably one of the nicest rooms in Capitol, has a history of having very consequential and important conversations. Things like, studying what happened and doing hearings on the sinking of the Titanic and other really high consequence historical events. And so, no pressure to the panelists and speakers today, but we have not just a big room to fill, but big shoes to fill. And I think the timeliness of this topic and the importance of it as we think about the themes as we go through today is really putting space in context, in the context of that it's not just an activity that is done by the United States of America or any single agency. It is not done by any single country. So we are now in an era for space. The future of space is a future that will be populated by commercial, by international, by U.S. leadership, but all of that is a new prism through which we need to look at the key driving factors of our industry. And so our goal as the Future Space Leaders Foundation is to have some of those important conversations start here and hopefully continue from here, where we'll have a couple networking breaks, so please enjoy the coffee and the muffins, but also this evening when we will shift to Hogan Lovells at 555 13th Street Northwest at 5:30, where we'll be on their beautiful rooftop to continue the conversations and talking about the topics that we're coming up with here today. The entire board of the foundation, the Future Space Leaders Foundation, is really proud of this event, and we're really proud about the fact that this foundation, now in its 14th year, is doing important work, not just at shaping the conversation, but really enabling future space leaders. And I'll say in sort of thematic to the future, is it's really hard about the future, is to predict it. And so I will tell you all, what you're not supposed to do is tell the audience all the things that changed before they got here. But I will tell you that until, I think, 6 days ago, Congress was planning to be in session, and we had a whole slate of great elected officials who are going to be here to talk with you about what's going on in Congress. You may or may not have seen in the news that they, did their job passing a bill, and then they decided to take a vacation this week. So we had a lot of last-minute changes just in the last week, in the last few hours. And so part of being a future-focused organization is being flexible. So that is, I think, a theme for today is looking at the future, being flexible, and figuring out how we're going to shape that future. So as we think about this event and kind of all the important things that go with it, the board, the foundation itself would not exist without our leadership, our board members. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank all of our speakers, but I also want to particularly thank Sarisha Bandla, as I mentioned, our vice chair, our treasurer, Jackie Cortez, our awards chair, Lynn Wagbels, who has a very challenging job of reviewing the many, many applications we get for our fellowship every year and deciding and helping us to rank who receives our fellowship awards. Our fellowship awards provide our fellows with the opportunity to go to the International Astronautical Congress, as well as a domestic conference here in the U.S. And it's a very competitive activity, and so we're really grateful to the awards chair and the whole group that does that. We're also grateful for our board members, Deborah Factor, Joe Landon, Aaron Lewis, Eric Stallmer, Brett Silcox, Patricia Cooper. And obviously our executive director, Yasmin Almond, without which none of this event or foundation could function. I'd also like to thank our advisory board, a couple members here, Clay Morey, Carissa Christensen, Brett Alexander, Lori Garver, Bill Clanky, and James Zimmerman. And thanks also, we had some great volunteers this year. So we had Tyler, Rebecca, Estelle, and Ayumi, who I think are in here or outside getting everyone checked in. So thank you to the help for all of that. We can't do this event without all of that great help. And I'd also like to acknowledge that we have some past Future Space Leader Award winners here. We also have some great fellows from the Matthew Izakowicz Space Policy Internship Program. And so with all of those great people, if we could just collectively recognize them with a round of applause for all their great work, please. And so as we look to the last 14 years and thinking back probably about 15 years ago when Clay Morey, who we'll hear from next, started the Future Space Leaders Foundation, I reflect on that as we prepare for this event, and really the setup, at least as I remember it, and he has the mic next so he can change the narrative if he wants to, but it was really this challenge of, there's this great international Congress. It's all over the world. This year it's in Sydney, next year it's a beach resort in Turkey, and there was not a mechanism really for US-based graduate students, young professionals to be supported to go to that conference. So if you happen to work at a company or a senior executive, you could go. There was a lot of fellowships at the time that were rolling out for other young professionals and graduate students from other countries to be able to go. But there wasn't really a way for us as an industry in the US to get our young and future space leaders to this important event. And as we thought about that, part of the challenge we were trying to overcome is that as a country, as an industry, in order for us to be global leaders, and this is part of the theme for today is global leadership and all the things that come with it, we needed to have that exposure, that understanding, at least that awareness of our future leaders, of all of how international the space industry is and all those international considerations. And so in creating a fellowship to provide that opportunity, I think 15 plus years ago, Clay was really a pioneer of realizing that in order for our industry in the US to lead, we had to have those future leaders with that exposure and that awareness. And so our fellows over that last 14 plus years of a foundation existing include CEOs of companies, founders, astronauts, program managers, really high-level government officials. The fellows who have come through this program are now actually leaders. And we kind of have to think about like rebranding it. It's like they were future space leaders. Now they are just the leaders of some of these major activities. And so that's the impact that we're here to have. And this event, in addition to being about great networking and content, is also one of our primary fundraisers. And so as we look through all of the great stuff that is going on today, we really want to make sure that we recognize the people and the organizations that are sponsoring events like this and allowing us to give out those fellowships to young professionals. And so specifically, we have Advanced Space, Bryce Tech, Voyager Technologies, the Washington Space Business Roundtable, and Hogan Lovells. And so those organizations have, and those organizations have consistently supported this organization and are again supporting us this year. And so as we have a great event here and with networking and all the other things, I do want to remind everyone that this organization exists to give out money to future space leaders. So if you are a future space leader, please be on the lookout for those applications. We'd like to give you money. And for companies or for other folks that are out there who would like to invest in those future space leaders and those opportunities and be able to be a financial contributor to the foundation, if you haven't already reached out, please reach out to myself or to Yasmin. We would love to involve more companies. This is really meant to be a broad coalition of industry to support our future leaders. And so with that said, I'm very excited to invite to the podium our chair emeritus, who is also the founder of the Future Space Leaders Foundation and is now the CEO of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, or AIAA. please join me in welcoming Clay Morey, who has a long career in the industry and is going to talk to us about some of this international context setting that will, I think, kind of set the tone for the rest of today. So please join me in welcoming Clay to the stage. Thank you.